Welcome back. We are on day 5 of the 60 Days to Automate Challenge. And today we're going to be going over how to connect your automation tool belt. So, one of the things that we really need to, so throughout this, we're hitting this week we've been setting up all the different automation tools. So, we started off this week with creating a simple form with using both Google and Microsoft Sheets. We then created a voter sidekick, AnswerAI, that allowed us to chat with very large PDFs. We also then went over Make and N8N, and we created automations so that when someone submitted the forms we created in day one, that we could reply to them with an email address. Then yesterday we went over how to get set up with both Microsoft and Google products for your email, your calendar, and all those and task management and documents. And today we're going to be going over setting up the rest of your automation stack. So our goal today is to really connect all of your automation tools that you're going to be using throughout this course in one fell swoop. Once your automation stack is set up, these creating new ones becomes much easier. So this is a really important process and part of the process to go through. And today we're going to talk about the automation stack, what kind of goes into it, what are the different components of it. We're also going to talk about the benefits of using APIs versus the actual AI apps. And then we'll also talk about how to set up your own credentials, what an API key is, how to also revoke them. So when, what's best practices around using these tools and researching what tools are best for you. And you'll be able to find links to all these resources at digitalatScale.com. So today, and throughout this course, we're going to be using a lot of different tools. From text generation, like ChatGPT, like their OpenAI's model for ChatGPT, like ChatGPT 4.0. And we'll explain what the differences are here in just a minute. But we're also going to be using a lot of other different tools. And a lot of these tools, they have different reasons. And the tools that we're going to be setting up today are primarily going to be, we're going to set up a couple of different language models in both Anthropic and OpenAI. OpenAI, you've probably heard of in the news, I hope. And basically, they are the makers of ChatGPT. And they have an API that allows you to use this, and engineers use this to build their AI applications. Most of the AI applications that you see built today are either built on using OpenAI, or they're using another really competitor, Anthropic, which is great for coding, for writing. They've also launched a few other things this week as well that I might go over in this course. And then we'll also be talking about two important other pieces of the puzzle, which are Airtable and Notion. So Airtable and Notion, if you're not familiar with them, they are essentially like user-friendly databases. Or in the case of Notion, something like a wiki or a documentation. Think of your internal keeping on task, writing documentation, writing processes. These are all tools that are very easy to use, very approachable, but they're very highly configurable. And one of the reasons I love these tools so much is that they all have APIs. And we're going to learn how to set up these APIs and how to interact with these throughout our automations, and then put them in one centralized place. Because one of the big benefits and one of the biggest reasons I'm doing this course is I want to be able to really highlight what the benefits of having your own secure, private infrastructure are. And one of the biggest one is just privacy. So a lot of these private companies, if you read their privacy policy, or if you just stick it into ChatGPT or some AI, they'll explicitly say that when you use their products, they can use that information for training. A lot of companies are starting to, in their products that you have been using for years, are starting to update their terms of service to say your interactions can be used for AI training. And the reason is because, and the reason that all these tools, for instance, Facebook is giving away Llama for free, is because the real data and the real value is your intention on what you're going to be using this product for. And you want to make sure that that is remains private. And a lot of these companies, you obviously want to do your research, but many of them, and the ones that we're using today, use their API. They cannot use that data for their own training. But always do your own research. This is not legal advice. So the other thing is cost efficiency. So if you may be getting subscription fatigue, oh, I need a subscription to ChatGPT, a subscription to Claude, a subscription to some image generation tools, oh, now we got to do, there's so many different AI tools out there. And you may be thinking to yourself, do I need a subscription for each one of these? And the answer really is no. For instance, I use AI heavily, as you can probably imagine. I use the APIs though, and with all of my image generation, my video generation, the text, my chatting, even some of my bulk analysis jobs, I spend no more than $50 for my own usage. And for all the different tools that I use, it would easily be about $400 or $500. Because at the end of the day, a lot of these tools that you'll use and you'll sign up for $10, $20 subscription here, are just wrappers around what you'll see are just sidekicks. Each day in this entire 60-day course is its own AI product in and of itself. And we're going to show you how you can set these up so that you can really save on cost as well as, keeping it private. And flexibility. AI is just moving at a rapid pace. If you watch the news or if you follow this industry with anything, if you follow this at all, you'll see that this industry is evolving faster than any other industry, any other product, any other technology in history. And the products and what they're capable of are changing daily. For instance, it was just a couple of years ago that we were amazed that a chatbot could just give us a response and do a poem. Now their PhD level reasoning. Anthropic just released a couple of days ago an AI that controls your computer and can do tasks for you. So one of the really big reasons you want to have your own infrastructure centralized is that with API keys, as these tools get better, the underlying methods to utilize these language models and these AI systems get better, it'll be a lot easier for you to just swap out an API key. Oh, I hear that Anthropic is better at coding than OpenAI. I switch out an API key, or I switch out that. I don't have to sign up for that. I like this image over this image generation. Swap out an API key. I want to analyze my business data and have it stored somewhere else. Swap out an API key. Because at the end of the day, this allows you to centralize all of your data you have floating out everywhere into one infrastructure that you own, that is more cost effective and puts you in the driver's seat of what tools you can use. What we're going to do is we're going to go in and we're going to start going through each one of these tools, and I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview of what their key features of, how I use them, how we're going to be using them in the course, and of course, what are some of the use cases, and then I'm also going to show you how to create an API key, and then immediately show you how to revoke the API key in best practices. So I was trying to think of different ways that I could have this session, because setting up API keys, showing that in a live stream, how do you make that happen? Well, I'm going to create it, and then I'm immediately going to show you how to revoke it. And then I'm going to show you how to take that and put it into your systems, innate in, the answer, and make. So let's get started with OpenAI. So, second, let me just set something up here. Easier. All right, so OpenAI, what's it good for? Well, it's the main model for ChatGPT. It has also DALL-E, which you may have heard of for image generation. It also uses Whisper for both for transcript generation, so taking audio and turning it into transcripts, which will be hugely powerful, which you'll see in this course. And then also too, they have the ability to do assistants and agents, which we'll go over in this, and really are one of the leaders of language model and set off this new fifth wave of AI through a lot of different waves. This is just one of many throughout the years since we first started computing. So some of the different use cases that you'll be using OpenAI for is that we'll be using it to set up a customer support agent that basically automates chat bot responses. It's used for text summarization. You can use it for blog posts, coding assistance. There's a lot of different use cases that we're going to be using just the text generation for, but then we're also going to be using some of its image generation in DALL-E and then compare it against another image generation tool, which I like even better, which is called Leonardo. So let's go into the API process. So where we want to go is first go to OpenAI. So the first thing that you want to do is go to this link, openai.com/API. And this is going to give you one of the little notes for all my friends that work in OpenAI, since everyone at Optimizely decided to go there. When I come here, a little bit of landing page conversion optimization for you. It was very hard for me to see where I actually go for this. I had to go to products and then platform overview to get here. It wasn't very clear to me. So openai.com/API or go over here to products platform overview. And here we have this start building. I don't know if maybe some of these other ones, no, they don't. I had to go here. So we're going to go to the start building. So we're going to go here and I'm just going to sign up. I'm going to sign up with my digital at scale demo at gmail.com. And it's going to, hey, tell us a little bit about you. I am this. Once again, I'm going to use some birthday here, not mine. And what this is going to do as soon as you set up is you're going to see a different place of OpenAI. This is where there's a lot of API documentation of how you use these services. We'll use this a lot because when you want to take advantage of the latest models and the latest information, since this is going at such an extremely fast pace, basically you want to be able to know how to read this. And but we're not going to go over that here. We'll go over a lot of this and what's here, but this is going to be your go-to area for really playing around with the API. They do have this playground, so it's kind of like ChatGPT. But before you can start doing anything on this, and this is kind of where it will cost a little bit of money to start using the API. But here's the thing, is that what you do with all of these platforms, well, not all of them, sorry, at least the AI ones that we're going to be using in this course, you have to pre-purchase API credits. It used to be that like anything else, you would just sign up and then they would send you a bill. But when you're using some of these, let's say you set up an automation that had an endless loop, you wake up with an $80,000 bill. You want to make sure that you're cut off. So what we have to do here before we start doing anything is finish account setup. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to go ahead and set up my payment details. I'm going to go ahead and just do it as an individual. And I'm going to go over here. And all right, so let's go here. We're going in and we're going to all right. So I'm just setting up the payment details here. All right, this should make this a little bit quicker. All right. So once I have put in the card, and a lot of these too. So basically what we have here is a, wait, what? Second. All right, there we go. All right, that should make it quicker. All right, so basically what you can do when you get started and after you put in your payment and we ask for an initial credit purchase, you can enter an amount between $5 and $10. And this is where you can really control your pricing again. So for instance, when you're setting up these automations and you start getting these ideas flowing, you can rack up a little bit of a bill if you put on some, especially have tons of data. I'm going to show you how to, go through your entire Google Drive. And there's definitely some ways that you can rack up some bills. But for just general day-to-day usage, like I said, I don't really spend more than, and I'm a heavy user, all of everything. So for this one, I'm just going to put in an initial of just $5. So you can see on all these, I'm going to do the minimum amount so that you can see how far this will take you. And then during this challenge, we'll see how long based off the different credits and the different examples that I give. So I'm going to put it at $5. So when the balance goes below, do we want to automatically recharge my card when my credit balance falls below a threshold? I'm going to say, so here's the thing is I can enter an amount between $5 and $95. And here's the deal is you're probably wondering, well, why, if I want to spend more than $100? They have leveled pricing. So if you continue to pay your bills, if you continue to put like that and you continue to ask, I think there's certain things with the APIs that you can get for different levels. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm not going to have it retop it. So there we go, continue. All right, so we have $5. Great. Now that we have that, when we go back over here to the playground, this gives us a place that we can try new things out and try different things if we wanted to play with a different API. I'm not going to give a full tutorial on how to use this. What I wanted to go over though too is where you actually go to set up your API keys, because that's what we'll want to get into and we'll want to set up in AnswerAI and in make.com. So in order to do that, what we need to do is you can organize your different things in different projects, but sometimes you don't need it. So what we want to do is go to the dashboard here. And what that's going to do is it's going to come over here and you're going to then see API key over on the left. So choose API keys, and it looks like I need to verify my phone number before I can start using this. So let's go through that process too. All right, the phone number has been verified. I'm going to say digital at scale demo. And if you had different projects, you can put them into different projects. I like to have them in different projects just because you can start to see, since your marketing team, your sales team, you can see what the different uses are of that, whether that's full team or just AI agents. But for this purposes, I'm just going to put it in the default project. I'm going to say create secret key. So guess what? This is getting ready to be revoked. So if you have 30 seconds to use it. So what you do is you create a new secret key. And what I've done is I've actually gone through and I put it into the there. Now, if I want to revoke this key, all I have to do is click on this and hit revoke key. That's it. So for the purposes of this, that's how you can do it. So go here, create new secret key, give it a name, and create secret key. So while I do that and I get my real key over here, there we go. All right, now that I have this real key that I just showed again, so I could show you how to revoke it again. Let's try that again. All right, so one of the things that you should probably note though is that you can never get back to it. So if I hit edit here, I can't see the key ever again. So if you don't get it that first time, you're never going to be able to get it again. You just have to create a brand new one. So little tip there. And that's with all of these. That's just for security reasons because this becomes encrypted on the back end. So they don't even know what it is. So we have our security key. Now, what do we do with this? Well, if you remember from days, in 3, we went over a few different products. So the first one we're going to add it to is AnswerAI. So if you come in and you sign up for AnswerAI, you'll be able to probably see ChatGPT. And if you go in here and if you clone it, as we did, you will see that you can use the AnswerAI OpenAI key. Now, that one has a very limited use and you'll get throttled on it. But let's say you wanted to use your own and set it up that way. Well, we just come over here and on the left, there's three little dots. If I expand this a little bit more, I just click on credentials. And this is where you're going to see all of the different credentials that you set up. So as we go and we set these up, this list is going to become pretty full. And we're going to do this for each of the services. So here I go in, and as you can see, there's a couple of organization credentials that I don't have, that basically I can use, and they are used for all of the AnswerAI. But if you want to start using your own ones, you would go up here to the top right and hit add credential. So up here, I can just search for it, OpenAI, click on that. I'm going to give it a name. I'm just going to say, this is digital at scale OpenAI. And I'm going to paste in my key, but I'm not going to show it to you. And you'll see here that when you paste it in, it looks like this. Now, you're going to see here the credential visibility private, and you won't be able to select organization. This is for enterprise users so that they can use share their API keys throughout their organization. But since this is a public version right now that you're going to be using, you don't have that option. So we go ahead and we hit add. So as you can see here, we now have our first API credential in AnswerAI. Now, if I go here and I click edit, I still can't see it, but I can change it. If, for instance, I needed to go back, get a new API key, maybe it expired. That way I don't have to go and reset everything up. If I need to revoke it, I can just hit this delete button. So that's how you set up OpenAI and AnswerAI. Now, how do you do it in Make? Our next one is going to be Make. How do you set up OpenAI in Make? Let me show you how. We'll go over here to, once you log in to make.com, you go over here to connections. Sorry, this is one thing I hate about Make actually, is that you would think that if I go into connections, I'd just be able to add all of your different connections. Oh, you have to go in and essentially go into scenarios. We're going to create a brand new scenario, even though the purpose of this is not to create a scenario. And I'm going to say OpenAI. And I'm going to say message and assistant. Right here, now I get to create a connection. So I go in here, I give it this. I'm going to give it my name, digital at scale. I'm going to put in my API key, but that looks like all of these. I'll just still do that. So you put in your API key. If you have an organization ID, if you're using this on the enterprise, sometimes you would need that. You would put that there. Now we hit save. I now have an API key that I can now use in make.com. So whenever I choose an OpenAI one, it's going to show this what I have access to and allow me to start using this. Now, that's how you set up OpenAI's credentials in make.com. Now we're going to go over here to N8N. This is how you set up OpenAI credentials in N8N. First, you log into N8N and you go over to up at the top, you'll see workflows and credentials. You type on credentials, say add credentials. You just simply say OpenAI, continue. And what you're going to have here is the API key. I don't know why I can't. Okay, here we go. All right. Once again, you have the organizational ID, but then I hit save and a connection tested successfully. It'll actually go in there. If for whatever reason it's the wrong API key, something like that, you'll get a different message. That's how you set up OpenAI in N8N. All right, so now that we've done that and we have set up, wrong one, Now that we've set up the OpenAI, let's go in and see what we can do with the next one, which is Anthropic. And Anthropic, I really have been using a lot more lately. It's got great, I think that its writing is a little bit better. It's got great coding skills. And just honestly, I feel like they're innovating at a little bit quicker pace than OpenAI right now with what they've been doing. They have the ability for, they don't have images here. This is actually a copy and paste error. I didn't. I had one on here, and they recently just put in here computer control. So they basically just added, so with the API, it can actually control your computer. I might have like a bonus day in this 60 days because I'm actually curious. I'm going to be playing around with it this weekend to test it out. I have a couple of use cases for it. But once again, I think that this is, did I just mess it up? Yeah, we're going to go into Anthropic. All right, so to go to Anthropic, so when you come in and you go to anthropic.com, you can simply just go here and you can go here for learn more, start building. I've already gone through the setup process for this one. It's the same thing. Just sign up, put in your payment details, put in a minimum, which I have not done yet. As you can see here, I have to purchase credits. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So this one actually asked me a few different things. So like what type of entity, I'm just a small or medium. I'm located in the United States, both internal and external, creating a 60 days to automate challenge for my YouTube and for my content creation. All right, will it be used to provide legal, medical, or financial advice to consumers? No. Get legal, medical, or financial advice. Now, can it help you do your own research on those things? Absolutely, but don't take its advice just yet. Will we be incorporating our API into any products or services intended for users under the age of 18? In this case, no. All right. So now we need to go in here, and after we've filled out, now let's put in our billing information for here. So once again, I'm given with Anthropic, the minimum I have to put in is $5. So I'm going to do this. So this one, I'm not going to auto reload this. I'm going to say $5 and I'm going to purchase the credits. All right. Now I purchased those credits. Maybe if I oh, there we go. All right, so we can see that I have a $5 budget for this course. So I now have a $5 budget in OpenAI and a $5 budget in Anthropic. So now what do we do to get our API keys? Well, when you first log in, you are presented with a few different pieces here, which are write a prompt from. One of the things I do like about OpenAI is I gave a whole course, or sorry, not OpenAI, Anthropic, is I gave an entire course on how to write good prompts and write different things. And one of the things that I really love about it is their generate prompt. I can just go here. I want to create a prompt to analyze my transcripts for action items and create tickets with the tickets in Airtable when they are ready. I have to spell it right. I just hit generate, and what this is going to do is it's going to take your rough idea of what you want it to do and create it into a detailed prompt. So this in and of itself is worth, and you need API credits to use this because it uses against it. But what this does is it'll actually create like an amazing prompt for you. So we'll be using this throughout the course to create some of these prompts and to show you how you can use them to iterate and improve on them as well. So really love this tool from Anthropic. Now, what we're going to do here is set up our API keys. So we'll go here, get our API keys. We're going to go here. And this is how you set up your Anthropic key in AnswerAI. So what you want to do is you want to first go into Anthropic and create your key. So in this case, digital at scale in the default workspace, and I hit add. It gives me this once again. I'm going to go ahead and it'll say that you need to copy this key out, and that will be the only time you'll ever be able to see it. In order to revoke it, you just go here and you say either disable the API key or delete it. In this case, I'm just going to delete it. Now I'm going to go over here and grab my real API key. All right. So now that I have my API key, guess what? Same way. So how do you add your Anthropic API key to AnswerAI? Well, go into AnswerAI, navigate over to credentials in the left-hand side, click on add credential at the top, choose Anthropic API, and I'm going to say digital scale Anthropic. Put in my API key and hit add. I now have my Anthropic key in AnswerAI, and I can start using it immediately. Now, how do you add your Anthropic key to make.com? Let's see. Let's show you. So you first navigate to make.com, and in order to create a new credential, you can only do that when you add a new scenario. So we're going to create a scenario, and we're going to search for Anthropic. We're going to choose that. We're going to say make an API call, create connection, and we're going to paste in our API key here and hit save. We know that it works when we see this show up. We now have Anthropic hooked up to our make.com instance. Next, I'm going to show you how you can hook up your Anthropic API key to N8N. So first, log into N8N, and at the top, you'll see workflows and credentials. Choose credentials, hit add credential, and Anthropic. Hit continue, and put in your API key. Hit save. It'll test it. Green means good, red means bad. Check out your API key. But now you have your credential in Anthropic ready to go. All right. So now we have our brains in the tech stack. We have OpenAI, which can be used for image generation. We have it for text generation, audio transcription, audio generation even. And we have Anthropic as well as an alternative to OpenAI. So you can try both of those out. But now we need to have a place to really store all of this data that we're going to be collecting and organizing. There's a shirt that I have on right here. It says talk data to me. I love this shirt. It's from my old Optimizely days. And honestly, when it comes to data, you want to make sure that it's well organized and that you have your automations hooked up to it in a way, because one of the benefits of having well organized context data that we'll be going over in this course, it makes your responses in your AI so much better. It's not about trying to tell the AI what to do, but to give it context about who you are, who your business is, what you're trying to do. All of that information, even the most basic things. Imagine a person who doesn't know anything about you or your business, but it knows a lot. That's kind of how you need to treat these AI models. And if you use the chatbot, you have to retell it every single time. You may have some tools that you may be able to upload a PDF here or there, but you really want to have to keep giving it the same PDF? Do you really want to have to keep giving it the same thing over and over again? Probably not. So that's where tools like Airtable and Notion, which we're going to be going over next, really come into place. They offer a no-code interface to handle different dashboards and spreadsheets. Some of the use cases we're going to be using Airtable in this course for are project management. So to be able to track tasks and milestones and provide real-time updates. We're also going to be creating a sales management pipeline using custom different tables and views. And we're going to show you how to set up a content repurposing machine and being able to take that and do marketing analysis to compare your different campaigns, to be able to store this so that you can really have these amazing campaigns that really speak in your voice, that really are talking to your target personas, all based off of content you probably already have locked away somewhere in your Google Drives or your SharePoints or wherever your documents are for you and your business. So let's go in and set up Airtable. I'm not going to go too much in this one I'm not going to go too much into all of the different things you can do with Airtable just right now. But just know that when you go there and I'm going to go ahead and sign in with Google with my digital at scale and go here, and you're given a little onboarding. We've seen this every single one. I'm just going to skip it. I don't have anyone to collaborate with yet. And then we're getting up and running fast. So this is where you can use some data to jumpstart it. We don't have any data right now, so I'm just going to go through this. Well, we are going to set up our first app. And the very first thing that we're going to be doing is our task management. So task, and we're going to be using this in day 8 for using AI to help manage your tasks. So let's go ahead and start that board now. And I'm going to go here. I'm going to be using it for project management, and I'm going to be doing tasks. So all this is doing is it's going to set me up kind of a base. And that's an important concept to know in here. Like I said, I'm not going to go too much into the details of this. But what we have here is we have a simple base, which has a couple different things like update financial report or design the new website. These are different things that we'll be putting in here. And then when we go in here, we can see we want to edit the app. We can actually get to the data behind the app. Like I said, I'm not going to go into too much on this. What we really care about is, where do I get my API tokens? Well, when you're in here, up in the top right-hand corner, this is where you get your API key for Airtable. So go up in the top right corner when you are logged in, and you go down to Builder Hub. So right here, this is going to be the place for you to be able to create apps. Right now, I don't have the enterprise plan, but I don't need it, because all I really need are these personal access tokens. So once again, this is where we're going to create a token, just like we did earlier, and we're going to create this. So we go here, we log into Airtable, we choose Builder Hub from down here, and then over on the left, we choose Personal Access Token, Create Token, we give it a name. So Digital API or demo. So then we're going to talk about the scopes. So this means, what can this API key do? So these are a little bit more, the AI ones had some different scopes, but they weren't as relevant as what we're going to be doing here. In this case, we're just going to give it all the scopes, but I kind of want to go over what each one of these mean. So you have, data records read, data records write. That just means, can it read it? Can it read your comments? Can it write it? All of these have a read and write permissions, and it goes from your schema, so your data with inside of them, all of these different pieces. And for this, really what we need is just we need to be able to read data from it. We need to be able to write to it. We want to be able to read and write comments, because I'll show you how you can just comment on it, just like one of your coworkers, and have one of your agents take it over and do a task on it. So we'll be going over that automation in one of our tasks. Now, if you wanted this API, which in this case we don't, to be able to modify your table, add new columns, a lot of the automations we're going to be doing in this course don't involve that. Also too, if you need to be able to do webhooks, but in this case, we are going to want to be able to read the user's email, so that we can then use that for our other automations as well. All right. So now we have this, and we have our scopes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to now give it access. So while we have given it the scope, this is what it's able to do, now we're going to give it access to bases. As I mentioned, there's a concept of bases here. You have different bases. So a base is like a group of tables, right? So a common base that I have is, for instance, my entire digital at scale post-production workflow is managed through Airtable, which I'll be going over. And some of the tables that are in that base are a table for my videos, a table for my social media posts, a table for the newsletters that are associated with those, and then all of the campaign and persona details and all of this information. But it's all really focused around the digital scale. I have different bases for financial data, different bases for lots of different pieces of my business. So we're probably going to be creating a bunch of different bases and tables within inside those bases during this project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose all workspaces and this one right here, all bases in all current and future workspaces. So this is going to say, hey, anytime you add a new base or something like that, that it's going to have access to it in perpetuity. So if you create a new base and new workspace with inside of there, you can actually, it'll just have access to it. However, for instance, you want to give it only access to bases in a particular workspace, or maybe only a particular base. A good example of this is I have API keys and I have agents or sidekicks that have access to financial data. Well, I don't want that API key to have the same access, or I don't want my customer one, the one that my customers use, that they use for their own support. I don't want them to have any capabilities of getting to my business financial data, right? So this is where you would want to change the scope of or limit your API usage to a particular area. But for the purposes of this, I'm going to give it to all current and future bases in this workspace. That way, if I create a different workspace, I have to create a different thing, but I know that, hey, this key is going to be in this workspace. And then any new bases that I add in this workspace, this API key will be able to its records, write its comments, and you read the user's email. So I'm going to go ahead and hit create token. I'm going to do it over here because I don't want to have to go through that whole setup again for that. And all right, now that I've created my token, I now have it right here. And if I ever needed to go in here and I needed to revoke this, I could simply just remove it. I could also remove scope from here. So that's a little bit different from how you saw in OpenAI, where it's just trash it or not. You can actually customize this after the fact, but you can only give, but once again, you can't see that API token again after you've created it. So you can see here, it's right here. If you want to actually get rid of it, you can say delete. You can also just regenerate a new token. So if you needed to re-roll it, you could just do that. Or like you said, like I just showed here, you can edit its permissions. So Airtable, I like that because it gives you a lot of granularity in your API tokens and the access, which is crucial to make sure that you have everything stay private and segregated in your data. So where do you add? So this is how you add your Airtable API key into AnswerAI. So first you log into AnswerAI, and then over on the left, you go down to credentials, you click add credential, you choose Airtable API, and I add my table here, or my access token here, hit add. Now you have your API token in AnswerAI. This is how you add your Airtable token to make.com. We go into with make.com in order to add a new API token so it's there for the future. Go to create scenario, go here, search for Airtable. As you can see, it's verified. I'm going to do a search for records. Any node will do though. Just choose any node. You then choose create a connection. And for this, we're going to choose Airtable token or key. You also have the option for Airtable OAuth. So this is where you can either put in the token that we just gave it. And yes, this is using personal yes, token or key. So we're going to use the personal access token. That's what we just set up. So that's what this warning was here for, was at the end of January 2024. That's way over. So now I'm going to go in here, put in my actual, and it didn't put that on there. So it looks like that one didn't work. Interesting. So I'm having problems with, okay. I'm having a little bit of problems setting this up. It keeps giving me this 403 error, which I believe is permission denied, yet forbidden. So I'm going to check to make sure that these data read all current and future bases in this workspace. Great. Digital scales, I have the right scopes. Saying that I don't have the access, but I gave it. Let's just give it all of the information. Give it all of it and let's see what happens. Okay. It looks like in order for Make to use it, you do have to give it all of the scopes. So for make.com to create your API token, you're going to have to give it all of the scopes. I might do some further research to see what is actually needed, but yeah, it looks like I had to give it a little bit more information, and that's why I was getting that 403 error. So if you hit a 403 error, it's probably because you didn't give it enough of the scope on Airtable. And that's how you set up Airtable in make.com. So now this is how you set up Airtable in N. First, you log into N8N, and you'll be at the top, you'll see workflows and credentials. Click on add credential, and we're going to choose Airtable and hit continue. I'm going to regenerate this because it was shown. All right. What I did was I went ahead and I just created a separate key for N8N. It's probably good to have a different, if you're going to be using Make and N8N and Airtable, probably have different API keys for them. I set them up for this one with the base, but that's how you set up Airtable 8N. All right, and last but certainly not least is Notion. So Notion does have a lot of similar elements in Airtable. It's not as database heavy and doesn't have a lot of the different tools, but Notion is a very popular app that's used that combines note-taking, task management, your knowledge management, and puts it into a unified workspace. I believe their goal is to be like your central intranet, and that's kind of how we've used it in the past. Honestly, I used Notion for when we first started my company, Last Rev right now. We stopped using it mainly because it was just a bit of a learning curve for how you do different shortcodes. But I'm really interested to see with their new AI tools, with their new, they're a little bit more mature. I think it was 4 years ago. So I'm going to be setting this up and using it for digital at scale for creating the different pages, the different Notion. I'm going to create a board for this and use this as part of this because you can create your different content calendars. You can set up public dashboards that people can view and really have a centralized repository for your knowledge. So in order to be able to access that knowledge using AI and to be able to get things in and out, you'll want to use. And so how do you set up Notion? So first off, what you'll want to do is go to notion.so. I believe if you go to notion.com, let's see what happens. Notion.com works too. So what we're going to do is we're going to just click on the button that says Get Notion for free. I'm going to click on here and I'm going to log in with my Digital at Scale demo. As you've noticed, all of these tools have free accounts except for the AI ones. As I mentioned, you do have to put a little bit of money down for that, but it should be plenty as you go through the course and learn it. How do you want to use Notions? Again, the onboarding for personal use. And I'm going to be using it. Let's do it for a to-do list. So that's going to be one of our very first things that we're going to be doing as part of this. And I'm going to show you the differences between Notion and Airtable and when to use both of them. So as you can see here, I've been dropped in, and this is just a really little note-taking app. I can add or send out this week's newsletter, right? And I can actually go in here, I can make checklists. They also have this idea, if you hit / to do all these different things, so linking to page. We're not going to do a full tutorial of what Notion is and what it can be used for yet. But what we want to do is we want to hook it up in this so that as we do use it, we already have it hooked up so we can start getting data into it and we can start getting data out of it. So in order to do that, we're going to go over here up into the top right, and we're going to go to manage connections. So connect to and manage connections. So here you can actually go ahead and connect a lot of your different things. So for instance, here, if I wanted to connect this to my Google Drive, I'm going to say connect and click on this and continue and give it a little bit of access. And now when I share Google Drive tasks in here, it can already see those preview links. Now, these are one types of connection, right? But these are the type of connection where you just set it up, but we're going to want to set it up to make, and we're going to want to use the API. And where do we do that? Well, on here, I don't know if you saw that, but when you're in here, there's this develop or manage integrations right here. And it's kind of a little hidden. I think, let's see if there's any place in settings or sites, connections. Yeah, no. I'm going to click on this developer manage here. So right here, we have this new integration. So this is where you can create a brand new integration. In our case, we're going to set up an API key. So this is how you set up an API key in Notion. So we go into integrations, we click on new integration, and I'm going to say it's digital at scales Notion. It is going to be, for this case, I'm just going to say it's an internal one, and I'm going to say save. Oh, name. What's the name? Oh, digital at scale API key. Sure. Here we created an integration, and now we need to configure its settings. So what we have here is all the capabilities. So just like with an Airtable, we had to choose what it could do and which bases it could do it to. It could read from, what it could write to, what it has access. And in this same case, the capabilities, it's just, called scope in Airtable. It's called capabilities here. It can read content, update content, insert content. We do want it to read and insert comments. So once again, we want it to be able to communicate with the comments so that I can comment on a document and fire off an automation, which then updates that. So it's like you're collaborating in real time through Notion or Airtable. That's going to be really cool when we get to that point. Do we want it to be able to have no user information? We want to be able to read user information, but without the email, or we want to be able, and in this case, we want to be able to have the email addresses because that's going to be our unique identifier for each user. Right now, I'm just setting it up for just us and our users. But once you start adding new users, start using new agents, giving them their own accounts, things like that. We'll go over when that's needed, but you'll want to be able to have that email address. So I'm going to go over here, and this one's a little bit different. You have to show it and then copy it. So I'm going to go ahead and go over here, and I'm going to copy it. All right, now that we've done that, let's go ahead and show you where to revoke it because I just put that in there. So we have this. we're going to go ahead and delete. No, actually, we're not going to go and delete. We're going to go in here into edit settings. So as you can go here, all I have to do is click this refresh button to revoke it. So I'm going to say refresh, copy, save. All right, so we have our digital at scale API keys. That's where you go in Notion to get your API key. Now, how do you add your Notion API key to AnswerAI? Well, go to AnswerAI, log in, go over to the left, click on credentials, then up at the top right, say add credentials, type in Notion API, say digital at scale Notion, put my token in here, and hit add. Very easy. Now, how do you set up your Notion API in Make? Well, first, go and add a Notion module after you have logged into make.com. Search for Notion as you're adding a module. Choose any of them. In this case, I'm just going to choose Get Page, create connection, and I'm going to say it's a public internal, and I'm going to add it here. I think that it doesn't do the thing, so I'm going to put it back over here. All right. We now have a connection, and we can test that connection by simply just taking this page ID. I don't know if it's this or this, but let's just test it. I think it's the full page ID. Here we go. Oh, I don't see where to get the ID. We'll figure that out later. I thought it's usually the ID up at the top, but apparently not. So, but our Notion API has been hooked up. Now we're going to go into N8N. So this is how you set up Notion in N8N. Log into N8N and go over to the credentials tab. Click on add credentials, Notion API, hit continue, and take that API key and place it in there. Hit save. Ooh, could not connect with these settings. I wonder if I have to create a public integration for N8N. I bet you I do. This is definitely an internal one. So why? All right, let's see if we can do this. There we go. All right. I just had to go and refresh that real quick. Great. Now we have our Notion account set up in N8N, Make, and AnswerAI. All right. So there it is. Day 5. We have gone through this week. We started off with just a simple form. We then went in and we showed how you can take your voter guidebook or a PDF and chat with it in AnswerAI. We showed you how you can do an automation and create a thank you email using both Make and N8N. We also showed you how to connect your Google or Microsoft products and set those business accounts up. And today we showed you how to set up OpenAI, Anthropic, Make, Airtable, Notion, and all the other tools are now set up in AnswerAI and in Make and in N8N. And that's going to set us up to now start doing the fun stuff. We've learned the basics. We've got our tools set up. So now what? Well, next week, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be starting by automating your email. Imagine waking up and your email's already been sorted and you already have draft replies ready and waiting for you. What if I told you that it could also look at your calendar and help you with availability and to how to schedule follow-ups and to automatically take action after meetings? Or what about keeping you on track? How to actually take pictures of handwritten notes and create tasks in Notion or Airtable to help not just collaborate with yourself, but collaborate with your team and your other agents. Then we're going to get into automating file management. Say talk data to me, do a lot of things, but mainly it's files that are on your computer, in your drives. I'm going to really show you how you can set up a process to organize this. I don't know about you, but my Google Drive looked like a bomb went off in it. But instead, now it's organized, well tagged and labeled and summarized, and I can quickly get to anything that I want. I'm going to show you how you can set that up as well. And at the end of next week, you're going to have your very own basic assistant that can help with your email, look at your calendar, help you stay on track, help keep your files managed and organized. And that's just second week of this 60-day challenge. So, once again, thank you so much for uh, tuning in. And I really appreciate if you found this content useful, please subscribe to the channel. That really helps. Give it a thumbs up. Also, if you found this content valuable, really do a big help if you shared it with your coworkers or anyone else that you know that might find this content useful, that has wanted to learn automation, wants to learn how to create their own private full automation system. So I really appreciate the time you spend with me, and till next time, bye.